Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Journey Within, where we bring on different storytellers, healers, vision holders from all walks of life. I'm your host, Andrea Escobar, your spiritual guide and intuitive. I'm really excited about today's episode. We're getting together with Dr. Krishna Bhatta, the originator of intermittent silence movement, creator of Relaxx app. He's an author, surgeon, inventor, and currently he's serving as a chief of urology at Eastern Maine Medical Center. So he is literally all over the place. And one thing I'm really excited about is you're bridging the gap between science and spirituality. And I think that is so beautiful that you're able to go back to your roots almost. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts that you've been on, and you talk a lot about your family. They were very, very spiritual growing up. And while you were kind of not ready to go in that path, you did return to it. And it plays a really big role in your practice, if I'm not mistaken.
It does. No, I think that it complements my work. And sometimes, people say, you being a scientist, a doctor, how come you become a spiritual? I said, you should change the question. You should ask, being a scientist, that's great that you are also looking at spiritualism in a scientific manner.
I like that.
Yeah.
So
I like the way you started, inner journey.
oh,
Yeah,
thank
no,
you.
I think it's all about inner journey that I emphasize on. I mean, when you are silent, where are you? I mean, you are inside you.
That was one of
Yeah,
the biggest things that I wanted to talk to you about. We've all been hearing about meditation for a really long time, but
right.
this movement that you're bringing about, there's intermittent fasting, there's all this going on, but with silence, it's such a beautiful thing to incorporate. We're in such a distracted world. I include myself. I didn't realize how much it's comfortable to stay distracted. It's comfortable to stay in the go, 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 this like chaotic world. But when you have to kind of go within and be quiet and just kind of observe, everything changes. So I would love to know what brought you to creating this really interesting movement.
Well, I mean, a lot of that came out of my experience from meditation. And what is common in all meditation is silence.
Yeah.
And intermittent silence is if you do a practice of 10 minutes a day, I mean, you can go into a retreat and have a 10-day silent retreat and do meditation, which many people do. I have done myself. But if you can build it in your lifestyle, then it becomes yours, right? It just goes with you. You still can go and do more intensive silence retreats. But 10 minutes a day is easy to incorporate in life, and it just opens new doors. What I wanted to talk about, at least today, is that
Yeah.
when you go inside,
Hmm.
we feel like, mind is empty.
Yes.
And you cannot empty your mind. Don't even try to empty your mind. So it's never going to be empty. So that's one thing. So don't worry about empty mind is devil's playground. I think what you are creating is a wonderful playground, that you can enjoy. And how you do that is, so when you go inside, it's not empty and it's not silent, it's not quiet. I mean, I was watching this physicist who talks about you and I, if we are sitting side by side, space in between is empty. It's not empty. There is radioactive waves, there is radio waves, there is infrared there is sound waves there is electromagnetic, he calls it fluctuations.
Mm.
And that has a lot of tremendous amount of energy. We have not been able to tap any that energy, but that vacuum fluctuation or electromagnetic fluctuation has tremendous amount of energy. we forget that once you go inside,
Mhm.
in the beginning, it's just a practice, 4 steps, and you become silent and get used to it. But then you go to the source, which I call the flame, a flame of consciousness,
Mhm.
which is pure energy.
Yeah.
And that energy is tremendous inside. And you can use that energy to create, like one component of it is inner theater.
Mhm.
And once you create that inner theater, you can create your own characters, or you can practice out what you are going to do today or tomorrow. Something important that you're going to do tomorrow. You can rehearse the whole thing in that inner theater that you build, which you control. You can control the positivity, you can control the characters. So it's under your control. And once you practice it, when you go to the real thing, 80% of that is already practiced.
Yes.
Right. I mean, we rehearse, suppose you have to make a presentation in a podium presentation for a doctor, we rehearse, 10 times the slides and, everything. But once you rehearse inside, it's more powerful.
It's like it's almost embedded into that blueprint.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just becomes part of you. And yes, there will be some variations, but that you can deal with. You don't have to deal with the whole thing. So when we
Definitely.
talk about, intermittent silence or meditation, most people say, oh, do it because you will be peaceful. Do it because you will have, less burnout. And so they're saying, look, you're burning out. Now you have to fix it. It's like, what we are creating is ride the wave of energy that it gives you. Once you have higher energy, you are more
Mhm.
peaceful. You have lower energy, you are more irritable.
Yeah.
So change from within will bring you all those things, but you are not doing it because you need a prescription of meditation. So that is the difference between my thinking or my, thought about it, is that no, go ride the wave of energy or inner energy, and you will get all those things as byproduct. But don't do it because you are sick. Do it because you want to be better.
I love that. We often wait until that burnout state or that state of, I can't do this anymore to
Right.
go into all these modalities instead of incorporating them so that we can just continue going, not this,
I
yeah, that
loved the way you waved
my ways. Yeah, I'm like, just go like this
the
instead
wave
of
of
like,
energy.
no, for me, that's such a big thing. My whole journey was, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder when I was
Mhm.
18.
Yeah.
And I realized that was the biggest blessing because I was living so out externally from myself, with all the trauma and just different things. I didn't feel safe inside. And when I started this entire series and all of this, it was more of to hone in that gap of, it really made me go inward and get to know myself. And I had to look at myself and take responsibility and not just say, well, what can you do for me so that I can feel better? It's like, what can I do for myself?
Yeah.
And right now, 2020, there's a lot going on. We all know this. But it's, to me, it's, yeah, we're getting impacted on a collective level that we haven't, and in previous times. But this moment of disconnect and this rock bottom or this burnt out that people are experiencing in 2020, that was experienced in 2019. It was happening in 2018. It just wasn't hitting us as a whole. And I really wanted to bring a way for people to realize this isn't about going to find a therapist and a healer and everyone to tell you you need to do this and this is this. This is about really going inward and getting to know yourself. And it was the one thing I had so much resistance for. It was silence. I needed silence. I remember I had a therapist tell me, she's like, you need to be quiet. And I'm like, no, give me something else. She's like, no, I don't have anything else to give you. And I'm like, my mom's paying you a lot of money. Give me something else. And she's like, no, you need to go silent. And she started to kind of start this question of, why don't you want to be silent? What are you so scared of? And I realized it was this fear. I had been in chaos and so much noise all my life that staying quiet scared me because it brought up memories that I didn't want to deal with. And I think that this year, the fact that we got all of our distractions taken away, it really made us kind of sit with things. And it was like, oh
Right.
man, I don't like how this feels. So I heard you came up with Relaxx app this
Right.
year
Correct. Yeah.
as a way to kind of bridge the gap, because you were going to do some workshops and then everything
Right.
happened and you weren't able to. Do you feel like your own practice with meditation and creating the intermittent silence movement impacted Relaxx?
Definitely, there is no question that, it came as a flow. I wrote the book, as you know. Then I was giving book talks and talked about workshop, and workshop couldn't happen because of COVID. So we did some virtual workshops, and out came, should we share that in an app? So that's how the app happened. And yeah, it's like evolved itself. I mean, I didn't just sit down and say, I'm going to make an app. I had material I could share with people, and that's how it came about. I think the app is phenomenal, really. I mean, because there are many apps in the market. Our app is new, and we have to do some, tweaking, but it has the content from simple content to very deep content. So you can start from intermittent silence, mindfulness, and then move on to deeper meditations. So, no, it does say, I mean, the thing what we have done is we have structured the silence in a very methodical way so that you can take it and practice it anywhere you want. But one thing I just wanted to say that, if you have an acute problem,
Mhm.
then it's good to have a medicine. I mean, if you have anxiety and you are shaking and, you can't do anything, you can't do meditation
Oh
either.
no, you can't.
so take a tablet, or until you get better, and then you are able to do that. And once you start doing it, you may not need the medicine, but there is no harm. So I'm not saying this or that.
Yeah.
I can say this and that.
And I like that. No, I'm very big on, if you need medication. I'm not
Yeah.
on medication anymore. I've,
Yeah.
knock on wood, have been off medication for five
No,
years.
this.
And that's
Yeah.
something I'm really grateful for, because
Yeah.
I know that if someone would have asked me when I first started, like, meditate, I'd be like, what? I can't even like sit still for like 2 minutes. What do you mean meditate? It took a lot. It was like a lot. It was a long journey. But from there to here, I to me, medication is a band-aid until you can have the strength. And I'm talking very specifically towards mental illness. I'm not going to go into everything, because if you have a heart condition, I'm not going to be like, you know what, you need to meditate until your heart's good. I can't speak on that. Only
So,
on my experience. But for
so
me, it
no,
is
no,
a
go ahead.
band-aid. Oh, sorry. No, it is a band-aid. And it's a band-aid that will help until it's, you're to a point where you can kind
You
of
can
go
handle
inward
yourself.
and handle it
Yeah.
yourself. But if you're hallucinating, I'm not going to say, hey, don't take medication. You
Right.
need to take medication. But
But I have some friends, psychiatrist friends,
yeah,
and they admit that there is more role of mindfulness, meditation, and now intermittent silence as a thing in their care. I mean, they definitely, and I think there is many of them are getting to that point, where they do themselves. But I'll tell you a nice story about,
yeah.
some people, well, at least nice to me. So I had a patient who had a stone, kidney stone,
Okay,
that was
yeah.
blocking her, tube,
Oh, yeah.
and she was in pain. But when she came to see me, I mean, stone pain is can come and go away, and then it can hit you like. At that time she was not having too much pain and X-ray and confirmed that there was a stone. She was herself a Reiki master. And no, she has become friends with us as well. So she said, I'm going to try to break this stone, dissolve this stone from Reiki. I said, be my guest, I mean, you are pain-free, you are not in any danger. You try what you can.
Yeah.
So she goes away and comes back. I think a week later, she was in emergency room, came back to me and said, it didn't work.
Oh no.
So what you're saying, so yeah, if you have kidney stone, you need surgery. I mean,
Yeah.
have that surgery. I mean, or have the treatment, and then once you are pain free, because if you have pain of any kind, and try to do intermittent silence or meditation or mindfulness, mind is on the pain.
It is.
So,
I was reading this thing and I laugh because every time I'm meditating, it's like my body does this to like realize, are you gonna continue or are you gonna focus on like your physical body? And about the monk that has like a fly on him and he's meditating for like an hour and doesn't realize that the fly is like bouncing from one shoulder to the next. And when I read that, I'm like, oh man, I move a lot when I meditate. Maybe I need to like stop moving. So I started to realize that I'll get itchy. And I'm like, why does it happen? Just as I'm like, why am I itchy? And I started to realize, I think it's just my ego trying to get me out of that like inner journey and trying to get over that hump. I realized that it would get really, really bad before it got better. But now I'm in a place where the itchiness does not come when I'm meditating, but it does. It's like, you're like, oh God, what's going on? Why am I itching? And it's your ego's fighting so much that moment of being
well, I'm not sure, if it is pure ego or so. Intermittent silence can be uncomfortable silence in the beginning. The practice of 10 minutes. That 10 minutes sometimes is harder to do than an hour of guided meditation.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. And you have tried that, right?
Yes.
So, but once you get the hang of it, it's beautiful because then you can go to that energy source I was talking about, find the force, feel the force, use the force. And the force is always with you. It's like a Star Wars said that.
Yes. Was not expecting you to use a Star Wars quote. I love it. This is random. When's your birthday, Dr. Bhatta?
Are you
I'm like really into astrology. I'll admit it. I'm like really far out into astrology. That's why I was curious. I'm like, I wonder what his sign is.
Yeah, Capricorn.
Really?
I'm on the cusp.
I was expecting something more playful. I was not expecting Capricorn. I'm like, Capricorn. No, you're good.
Yeah, well, I'm on the cusp, so I don't know. I have the properties of Capricorn and maybe the next one.
A little bit of Aquarius. I can see the Aquarius in you.
You think that's reflecting more than?
I mean, I'm picking it up, but it can also be just, I have a lot of Aquarius in me, so I tend to just think grand. I'm never like small. Can you talk a little bit about your own journey with meditation? Were you always practicing it or did it develop way when you were older?
So as you know, as you said yourself, I grew up in that kind of family and surrounding. But my own journey started when I went to medical school. So my medicine and meditation started side by side.
Really?
And both quite intense.
Okay.
It was really, and I've met as many gurus as I've met medical teachers and been to different places in the Himalayas. I still love Himalayas. And going to different parts of the country, Himalayas. And it has been a long journey, and now I thought time to share. So I wrote the book Journey from Life to Life. And then there is another book coming out mainly on intermittent silence.
That's so exciting. Do you have a sort of release date or not? Not anytime soon.
I think my publisher and we keep revising, adding things. So maybe January or something.
Wow.
Yes, no, it's almost ready.
Oh, that's so exciting. Well, congratulations on that other book.
Thank you.
That's so,
And
so exciting.
hopefully, when you get a chance to look at it, you will like it. But um, there are four steps, and the understanding of intermittent silence, the way I
Mm,
understand it, I'll try to explain. I mean, I've explained it before, maybe you have heard it, but it's a way to initial thing which definitely happens, scientifically happens,
mm,
is resting your brain.
yes.
So first thing is you close your mouth, and when you close your mouth, you are without words, but all the phenomena of expression and communication stops outside. You can go and use that inside. As I was saying, you can create your own inner theater to express and communicate inside. Inside is a big world. I mean, it's not a small world. So first thing is to turn your observation, communication, and all that inside. And the second one is close your eyes, which is again, you are observing outside, you are turning the observation inside. And the third one is silent listening. So you just listen to any sound that is around you and let it just pass through. And for me, I find it best doing, if I go to some hiking or some, coastal Maine, you just lie down and just listen to whatever people walking by, trees, wind blowing, waves crashing. I mean, it's beautiful when you go there. Somebody said, they could hear squirrels go up and down. I have not tried that, but so, yeah. But anyway, the sound, you don't want to get attached to it.
Okay.
So by closing your mouth, all the centers that are in the brain that work on speech and communication and expression, they are rested. By
Mm-hmm.
closing your eyes, all the neurons that are connected with visual and observation, they are rested. And all the faculty that is connected with hearing is rested because you are not analyzing it, you are just letting it go through. And the fourth one is watching your thoughts, like let it just pass by.
Okay.
And if you get attached or if a thought hijacks you, that's okay. When you realize, you come back to just watching. And many people try to, you know, focus the thought or get rid of the thought. It's not going to happen. The thought is going to be there. So don't feel bad about it if you can't do it. I found a nice story that I made up on this. It's like, this guy comes and says, it doesn't work for me. So, and I said, okay, it's a made up story, by the way.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, I wonder if this is a real person.
I said, why doesn't? He said, I went to a Swami and I heard him say about watching the thoughts. And he said, look, it's like the traffic on the road. Just the traffic is going and you are watching it. So he said, I'm going to try it. So he decided to go into a quiet place. He thought, it's like meditation. So go to a nice quiet place. So he went, one end of Montana, and he stood on the road, and there was not much traffic there. So, so a truck comes, a car comes, and they are looking at him weird. He's looking at them weird. He said, this is not working. So then he decided, okay, we'll go into a busy place. So he goes to New York, and he has to watch the traffic. So he stands in the middle of the highway, and he says, it didn't work because I was dodging the cars all the time. So, so that's what we do. I mean, we can laugh about it. That's what we do. We go inside and we want to watch the thoughts, but we are with the thoughts. We stand in the middle of the thought and try to dodge the thoughts. You have to stand by the side, and then watch it. And, it will keep going. So don't try to interrupt the flow because thoughts are going to be there. And the other thing I like to, highlight is mind is going to be with you forever. So be a friend to it. Don't call it names like monkey mind or different names, which we do. Or we sometimes get angry, I can't focus, I can't do this. don't hit your mind, because mind just, if you become a friend of mind, somehow mind responds that way. So when you say, okay, can you stay on the side, it will listen to you more than if you fight with it.
I want to have you in my head. Like, I just want to have you in my head, like telling me, don't be mad at your mind. You just bring so much. You have really great analogies, like that one that you just shared, that story. I had never thought about it like that. We want to be in the middle of traffic with our thoughts and just looking, and what you have to do is take a step aside and not and just be like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I know. Otherwise, you will keep dodging the thoughts and you will say meditation didn't happen to me, right? I mean,
That is so true. It's always funny because every time that I talk to someone, they're like, I can't meditate. And I'm like, let me guess, your thoughts never end. And they're like, yep. And I'm like,
you are standing in the middle of the road.
yeah, it's like, oh. But it's also, where did this theory come from that our thoughts are going to stop? Like, I
They're
want to know
not.
why, but why do people think that meditation is going to lead you to that? And
No,
then,
it's not. And that's a common teaching as well. Somehow people teach you that you focus your thought, or it's like get rid of your thoughts. No, it's like water, how can you give shape to water without a container?
so true.
It's something. So there is actually, if you go on my app,
Mm-hmm.
there is description that mind has two components, at least in my view. One is minding, and that minding will continue. And that's a part that is good, because you need minding for me to be able to express to you what I'm saying, or make stories, that we made. But sometimes, you want that minding to be on the side.
Yeah.
And then the mindfulness, which is the good part of it. And that is what gives us the recording. It's more like a recording, like a camera. So you switch it on and you switch it off. So you're mindful of, you say, okay, on, and then you are mindful of every movement that you are doing. And there are many ways people teach mindfulness, but mine is simple. I mean, say 10 minutes a day, morning or evening, just that 10 minutes, just observe everything that you be mindful of everything that you are there, and then switch off the camera. Slowly and slowly, that 10 minutes will start coming to your rest of your day. The same way, intermittent silence. Once you've learned the knack of silence, now it stays with you.
It's interesting that you're saying this, because I feel like this year, because I've spent so much time going inward, now I love talking to people. I'm a Gemini, so I love talking to people. But I will say I've had this newfound approach where I'm like, okay, I want to be alone now. I just want to go inside. I can't do that with you, so go away. So it is true. It is an uncomfortable process at the beginning, but I do feel like once you continue the practice, because it is a practice, I crave it now. Like, I look forward to it. I'm not like, oh man, I have to go, because that was very much at the beginning. I'm like, oh man, I gotta go do this. Now I'm like, oh yay, I get to go do this.
No, it's funny you say that, because I usually tell people to do it same time and same routine, and same place.
Yeah.
And you will find that that place is waiting for you, your body is waiting for you, and the time is waiting for you. Somehow it just, it becomes part of something that it's hard to explain how, but it does work that way. And you will feel like, the whole tuning in, you just move in easier. But one component that I want to touch before, I don't know how long you wanted to interview.
I mean, I probably would want to talk to you all day. I don't think you have all day.
So, is that once you have practiced this intermittent silence, then you have, and we talked about the inner theater that you can do, but first practice and then you can go into those things. But it also helps you deal with emotional storms,
Yes, it's great.
because those things, you can create a surrounding where you can practice intermittent silence and watch your thoughts, but it will be hard to create a surrounding when you do, like when you raise emotions. Even if you try that to be angry, maybe you can be, but it's still a drama. But when the real one comes, the practice of intermittent silence has given you that little ability to see the pause between you and your emotions. And that sometimes is enough for you to be able to deal with it in a better, more effective way. So I think this is one of the things that's very helpful at least in my opinion.
No, I really do think so, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to connect with you so badly. It was you have such a pivotal message, and we're in a time where, and that's how I view it. This
Yeah.
year really much pushed us to stop going outward, come home to yourself,
No,
because you're
yeah.
constantly trying to get other people to like give you things, and then when they're not there you're like, now what, instead of giving them to yourselves. And if they just don't show up, you're like, oh hey, who cares, I got me. And i I feel like that's very much your approach. It's about kind of empowering people and giving them back
Empowering
that,
yourself. Yeah.
giving that
Yeah.
power back instead of constantly outsourcing it.
Right. No, that's perfectly the way to do it. Increase your energy level. And once you do that, you're more peaceful. I mean, it's not like you become ADHD or something.
I mean, it'd be amazing if that was the marketing behind it.
No, yeah, it's not that kind of energy that is going easy. But this is a very controlled way of energy, distribution, I would say.
Which is really great, yeah.
Yeah.
What would you tell someone if they were thinking about starting their meditation practice, or they want to kind of get started? This is me plugging in your app, even though I'm not getting paid for it, but I really like it. So I'm plugging in your app right now. What would you recommend that people, how they could start incorporating it using your app?
Yeah, I think one of the things we want to do is because my app has so many good content, but as you said, navigation is an important part. Which one? So I think the first thing to do will be practice something like intermittent silence, because that is the core component of any meditation. Um, Even guided meditation, it takes you somewhere, brings you back, but meditation really happens in silence. So let me explain to you. You go to sleep, right?
Mm-hmm.
You switch off the light, you lie down in the bed. Depending on where you are, we are in Maine, we always have some comforter, but you can have bed sheet or whatever.
Yeah.
So you make yourself cozy, right? But you cannot make sleep happen. Sleep happens to you. So you create a surrounding where sleep happens. The same way, you create a surrounding where meditation happens. So chanting mantra or chakra or any of the meditations, while you're doing it, you may experience some light or something. The real meditation happens when you are in stillness and silence, and you still have to watch the thoughts, you still have the sound. So I took that piece out, which is the core component that you need. One way I try to explain is, when you say meditation, you are saying, I'm going to Himalayas or I'm going to Amazon. It's such a vast area, right? But when you go to those places, you need certain things to pack that you need. Doesn't matter which part of Himalaya you go. You need some winter gear, you need some boots, some camera equipment.
Yeah.
So camera equipment is your mindfulness without a film.
Okay.
And intermittent silence is your package that you need. And then you can go to Mount Everest, or you can go to Mount Kailash, or you can go to, different parts of Himalayas, but you are ready, you have everything that you need. So intermittent silence for meditation is like that, something that you will always be useful, the basic package. So, but yes, meditation is a big journey, many directions you can go. There is no one point where every meditator reaches.
Oh, no.
There is no end point, it's like.
No, I agree. I think everyone I talk to about meditation, even if they've been meditating for 30, 40, 50 years, they're like, I'm still uncovering things about myself.
Right.
I'm still looking at, observing my thoughts. Do you think that they just went away? And I'm like, I don't know. Did they?
No, the thoughts are not
They
going
don't.
to go away. No. Even for Buddha, thought is not going to go away.
No.
But
And
you can stand outside of the thought. That's the whole art, is standing outside, like we talked about the traffic.
yeah.
People will laugh when I say that you're standing in the middle of the traffic, but that's what we do, when we try to meditate.
Oh, it
We
is.
go and try to stop the big cars going,
It's like trying to get in front of a big semi truck and saying, stop. And you're like this little thing and it's this huge truck and you want the truck to stop. Right.
And the truck, yeah.
Oh, no. What were you going to say?
Well, I'm saying that, you're kind of invisible to that truck,
You literally are. It's like, I'm trying to think. I can still remember that one of my first meditation, I went to I did a 3-day meditation retreat. And the first time that I arrived, I was like, so how long are we meditating? And the person looks at me and she's like, you just got here and you're asking this? And I'm like, yeah, come and sit at the front with me. And I'm like, oh man, am I like getting put on the spot? But I learned a lot in those 3 days. And
No, yeah.
yeah.
No,
Really,
it's
really
always
powerful.
good to do. Yeah.
That's
I usually tell people to have a meditation package, but a lot of places will say, this is it, and I love, say, TM meditation. There's nothing against it.
oh no, it's
But
beautiful.
only doing TM, I would say that you should have a whole package, different, like my core meditation is Vipassana, has been for a long time.
Okay.
So, and there is silent part of intermittent silence in that as well. And witnessing is there as well. But, it's like a meditation that was started by Buddha. Relaxx app has a simplified version, or my version of Vipassana.
Ooh, okay. I'm
And
gonna check it out.
yeah, it's based on breathing, watching the breathing. And but the intermittent silence, schools can do it. Kids can do it, 5 minutes a day. A quiet time, resting your brain, whether you get anything else or not, that itself has got its own value.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you. I don't know how versed you are with, but going into that, giving your brain a rest, are you also able to get out of that fight or flight because you are taking 10 minutes to just observe and kind of go into either back into the sympathetic, which is what we all
Yeah,
want?
the fight or flight, if there is a fire, I'm not going to do my silence meditation, right?
Well, yeah, I hope not.
I will run. So if there is an acute situation, fight or flight, flight comes only when there is some, adrenaline flowing. That's a time to run. And but it's not a normal phenomenon. When you are being silent and there is nothing, no acute emergency going on, the flight or flight is not, not in action. It's like.
Well, I meant more if you feel activated because you were triggered for whatever reason, I don't know what, or this is a perfect example. If you're driving, because this is literally something that happened to me. If you're driving down the road and I live in Colorado, you live in Maine, so we both know what black ice is like, and you hit black ice
Yeah.
and you're a little scared and all of a sudden your
You
heart's
can't do
beating,
anything.
but what I'm saying is if you take like a good 10 minutes to put your car to the side and take some moments of silence, would that help? Or because you're activated, it actually wouldn't?
It depends upon how well you are, how much you have practiced the silence. If you have practiced, 3 months or more,
Hmm.
that silence comes with you. I mean, you don't, I mean, it just,
It's like automatic, it's built in.
actually, I was going to say something.
Oh. Oh, what were you going to say? Sorry.
The emotional storms you talked about,
Yeah.
right? They come without warning. And that feeling, that accident, that black ice,
Hmm.
that comes very rarely
Yeah.
in your life or my life. If you have practiced intermittent silence and you are in a situation where there is an accident or
Hmm.
something, your mindfulness camera gets automatically turned on and you watch everything in slow motion. This is an opportunity of lifetime. It happens once in every so many years. And you can actually watch everything that is happening to you. And it has happened to me.
Hmm.
And use it as an experience opportunity. You can't change anything anyway. You
Interesting.
still have to do what you do, but
Yeah.
you go into that mode. But you must have practiced this thing for some time so that it automatically happens.
Okay. See, this is something I think everyone should start doing from like the age of 5. How do
Well,
we get
we
this
have to
into
go
the
back.
schools? Or start going to the schools and be like, hey, you need to start doing this with your kindergarteners right now.
No, I mean, this gives you some qualities that really becomes very useful, in your life. And yes, nobody should have an accident, but if and when it happens, if you are in a mode where you can really be a watcher of that, and that won't happen at that last moment. You say, I'm going to watch it, no. You know,
Be
don't
funny if
try
it
to
did.
do that.
No, yeah, definitely on that. Um, so to
You are
kind of,
bringing out things that, I mean, yeah, that's very nice that you asked that question because normally I wouldn't have thought of, sharing that.
well, I bring it up because that was something that I actually did experience 4 years ago, and I wasn't in a place where I could have been less
Right.
reactive. I was very reactive. Didn't help that my grandpa was with me and he's 80, and I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna like kill both of us. How? But now, um, I think it happened like, yeah, it was last year. I was driving and I hit, and I didn't have the same experience. And it was a moment of almost how much growth I had done.
Yeah.
And I was sharing this with someone, and they were like, how did you get there? I'm like, I don't know. I don't have an answer. I
Yeah.
think I've just been practicing a lot of different things,
Yeah.
and
It just triggered.
it just triggered. So I wanted
Yeah.
to kind of break it down for people,
Mhm.
because anytime that I bring it up and I'm like, you really should try this,
Mhm.
you don't know what you're talking about. And I just wanted to say, I'm like, well, maybe we wouldn't be in this state of chaos all the time if we were
Right.
able to kind of pause before watching everything unravel and just kind of be like, okay, this happened. Now what? Now it's
Yeah.
happening,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Is there a mantra or quote that really resonates with you right now that you're carrying with you? Or is there one that's been with you all this time, maybe when you started medicine and meditation, or does that change?
No, I mean, there is a mantras and there is a mantra meditation, two of them in that Relaxx app. One I call power mantra, power chakra,
Okay. Oh, I'm
So
gonna do that.
I'm the probably one of the first ones. I don't know. I mean, not to my knowledge. I
Hmm.
have combined mantra with chakra. So, and one of the most powerful mantra is there. You don't need to know the meaning of the mantra at all.
Okay.
You know, if you just experience that mantra on each chakra, as you know, there is, it tells you first chakra, second chakra, third chakra, and and the other one is Om
Yes.
sound, and that there is a Vedic, way of reciting it, and again it's on each chakra, 3 minutes on each chakra, and it's
It's
really
three
those are
minutes.
beautiful, yeah, very nice.
Can I ask you why 3 minutes on each chakra?
Well, I mean, it could be three, it could be five, it could be 10,
Oh,
but three is something that, it just seems to work. I
okay.
practiced myself for a long time with these
Hmm.
things, and what felt comfortable to me, yeah, so yeah, it all comes to about 25, 26 minutes. So,
Okay. I was just
yeah,
curious. I'm diving deeper into chakras right now,
yeah,
and I've really gotten into chanting lately, which has been
yeah.
really interesting. But I was just curious. I'm like, is there like a reason that there's three is the number? Or if it was just,
Yeah, three is a common number, at least in, Indian, these things. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and
So, and this is a very personal, selfish question that I'm about to ask you.
yeah,
If I'm like chanting with the chakras,
yeah.
should I do it, each chant for each chakra for 3 minutes at least?
No,
No.
I think the classic way of chanting mantra is you don't think of chakra.
Okay.
So the one is the outside chanting, the other is
Mm-hmm.
in. Then you internalize it,
Mm-hmm.
and then let every cell of your body say the mantra that you are doing. Usually, it should be a small mantra. It's like Om Namah Shivaya or that kind of mantra. You can, vibrate the whole body easier.
Yeah.
I don't know which mantra you are,
Right now, I'm
yeah,
just
you are
doing
not
the
privy to.
vibrations. Yeah, I'm just doing
Hmm?
the vibrations like Lam, Ram, Sham, Ham. Like I'm just going through the vibrations of each chakra, and
Okay,
I didn't know if I should
vibrations.
do like 3 minutes on each one or
No, well, I mean, you should try. There is a chakra 20 meditation in the
in the Relax app.
Relaxx app.
Okay, I'll check that
So
out.
try that first because that one is and try with headphones.
Okay.
That is different frequency of music compatible
Mm.
with each chakra, and it takes you from first chakra to the seventh chakra and then the
Mm-hmm.
whole body. So that's chakra 20. And when you again you will ask me why three times. There is a chakra 46, which is 46 minutes, but that is
Okay.
going three times the same thing. So,
Oh,
and that
I'm gonna try
you,
that.
yeah, and that's no mantra at all. That's just different music for each chakra, and frequency of music matches the frequency of that chakra.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
excited about that one. And then
No, I
to,
mean, if you are working on chakra,
yeah,
definitely try that. You'll and somehow send me an email or something. What you think, like the things you felt.
I definitely will. Thank you for that
Yeah,
invitation. Do
yeah.
you have a particular favorite mantra on your app? I know that's like asking you to
There
choose a
is two
child,
mantra.
but
It's not a question of favorite. Uh, I mean, the one of them, the power chakra, is my, it's like because that's a powerful mantra. That's why I
Mhm.
call it power chakra. It's
Okay.
a Shakti mantra, Devi mantra,
Yeah.
and it's a long one, and
I'm gonna put that one
definitely,
down
but
too.
but mantra, any mantra you pick up, it has uh, it has its effect. I mean, it's a question of what in final, with on your or any podcast, I say, two
Hmm.
simple things: get started, start doing something, and
Right.
the second was practice, keep
Okay.
doing it. I mean, uh, there are many apps out there which have new content each time. It's like it has become like, yeah, like iPad. You want new things all the time.
We do.
Um, we probably will have new things, but
Hmm.
there is a big value in doing the same thing, same time.
Okay.
And say, it's like when you play tennis and
Yeah.
want to be good in tennis, you practice tennis.
Yeah. You're not
Today you
practicing.
practice tennis, tomorrow you play squash, the other day you play something else, which you are allowed to do,
Yeah.
but you don't get good at one, right?
No.
So in meditation also, I think there is value for repeating the same thing, because then you keep progressing.
I love that. Thank you for that. And then where can people find you? I will be posting all of your information, but just where can people
Yeah.
find you, keep up with you, find out about your new book that's coming out?
Well, for now, I think one go-to place is Relaxx with 2x.org,
Okay.
O-R-G. And that should definitely, and there is a contact form there.
Perfect.
And no, I mean, I'm here to share my, what I have learned, and um, I think there is value in that, and thanks for being part of it.
Oh, no, thank you. I am so, so honored to have the chance to talk to you and learn more about your journey and really dive deeper in what brought you within. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day on the week of the
No, let's make
holidays.
it. We are thankful to each other, so let's do it together.
Ah,
Yeah.
thank you. I hope you have a happy holidays, you and your wife, both of you. This is like me going off on a tangent right as we're about to close, but I just have to say the story of her, what happened to her when you guys were living in Scotland,
Uh-huh.
I was just like, wow.
The minor miracle.
Yes, I was just like,
It happens to all of us,
it does, but,
someday.
well, I mean,
It's amazing. Her story was amazing, no
it was
question.
just, I was just like,
Yeah,
oh my goodness, literally an act
yeah,
of just divine. Yeah. So
yeah.
I just needed to kind of
Where
share
do you
that with
live?
you. Oh, Colorado.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So you haven't been to England many times, maybe, but those cars, that she was
Hmm.
driving, it's a Renault, a small car, it's like Polo, a Volkswagen Polo kind of.
Oh, so
So,
really small
so
car. Oh my God.
yeah, it's not like US where there is no small, I mean, Mini Cooper, just think of Mini
Yeah.
Cooper, yeah. So,
That was the car she was driving when that happened.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it was like a toy, for the 18-wheeler.
Literally, it's a
Yeah.
toy. Okay,
Yeah.
just so that everyone knows what we're talking about, because you guys are like, what? Um, do you want to tell a story? I'm
No,
like, let me tell
you,
it.
you, you, you started it. You tell it. I
So
want to hear it from
essentially,
you.
your wife was driving in Scotland. It was before you guys moved to the US. You guys were still living in Scotland, and she was driving, and she gets hit by an 18-wheeler. I don't remember right now if her car flipped or not, but the only part of the car that was untouched was hers, where she was sitting. And I'm like reading this, and I'm like, is this real?
No, actually, what happened? It hit the car. The car flew and hit a pole, electric pole, and then bounced back. And that's when, and she was the whole car. There was no part of the car that was not damaged. And she opens the gate and comes out, walks out, shaken,
I bet.
but
I bet.
yeah,
Wow, she needs to we need to get her on the podcast and she needs to
I
tell
know.
her
Yeah, that's
story.
right.
Well, thank you once again, and for sharing that delightful story with us. I hope you guys both have a happy holidays and a wonderful end of the year. Are you doing anything fun?
We do fun every day. My life is fun every day. you know.
See, you
But
just
yeah, definitely we will be. I mean, how much fun you can have in Corona time, so you can.
I mean, we're having fun every day, so it is. I know, I agree. You saying that, my grandpa is very much a firm believer that you make fun out of whatever you want.
Right.
And he's right now in Colombia and has dementia, so he's not fully there all the time. I'll get little glimpses, and I called him I want to say around June, it was my birthday. I was turning 30 and I was complaining like, the world is on pause and I can't celebrate my birthday. And he was like very clear at that moment and looks at me and he's like, is this what I raised you to be? I thought I raised you to find joy everywhere. I'm like, but, and he's like, no, 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 no.
No,
How
but
can you have fun today? And I'm like, how can I have fun today? There's nowhere to go. How can you have fun today? Do you remember when you were grounded and you still had fun? And I'm like, oh, yes. Okay. So I agree with you. We can make fun happen wherever.
yeah, that's the spirit.
It is. Well, I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for your time.
thank you.
And I'll definitely reconnect with you over email to let you know when this airs.
Great,
And
thanks
I'll
for
let you know how it goes with the meditation. So thank you so much.
oh, great.
Bye.